How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL stream. If you're watching over on YouTube when this vlog comes out, this is where we do the streams over on Twitch. So we are back. This is the Gameweek 13 preview, where we're going to take a look at how my team did this week. Spoilers, not very good. Although I have seen worse scores this game week. Also, we're going to take a look at how our differential picks paid out, our predictions, all that sort of stuff. And of course, we're going to take a look at into potential transfers for next week and all that sort of normal stuff. So, I decided to do a stream today, and the antivirus has said that I have no threats, which is good. Unfortunately, there were bigger threats in FPL, such as Jamie Vardy, Heung-min Son, and Harry Kane, who sunk everyone's rank. And City and United getting a 0-0 draw was probably the worst thing that could have happened. And my Southampton front men didn't do as much as I had hoped they would do versus Sheffield United, who wasn't very good. Although they did score 3 goals, it's just only Ings got 1 assist, could have potentially scored. Adams only got 1 goal, could have potentially had an assist. So yeah, let's get right into it. Zodiac says, "What's the what time is it for me?" It is 8:01. I am 1 hour ahead of Eastern Standard Time. So usually this is when we do the streams normally. However, depending, I might be working from home for the next couple of days, so I might be able to do the deadline stream on Tuesday, which could be nice. But we'll have to see. So that's tentative. But we're doing it today because basically, normally we were going to do a stream today and then a stream tomorrow, and then the deadline was going to be on Tuesday. However, I might be able to do a stream on what's his name on Tuesday if it was the deadline. So we may be able to do that. It's midnight here. I got work in 7 hours. I mean, yeah. Some people are 4 hours ahead of me. That's I guess that's UK time, I would assume, but I can't do it any earlier, unfortunately, because of how my things work. But for the deadline streams, it works for everybody, which is why I like to do them, and this is also why it makes sense, because everyone's going to be, if they need to change their team or ask questions or anything like that 1 hour before the deadline. Then it's the same time for everyone, whatever time zone you're in. If it's up early o'clock, if it's up late o'clock, then yeah. I'm from Denmark, Northern Europe. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, it's going to be similar-ish time. Let me just turn up the fan a little bit, because it is a bit warm in here. There we are. Got the fan going now. It's not as hot. But yeah, no, I can't do it any later, obviously, because that would be bad. And if I did it any earlier, then I won't be able to get it in time. Basically, if I did it, let's say, right after the Arsenal game, that would be like 9 o'clock. That'd be fine for some people, but I have stuff that I do after the Sunday games as well. Like sometimes I have to go in and cook like meals and stuff like that. So it is a bit to prep for the week, because I don't like to be having to make meals midweek. I just make like some chicken, freeze like the last 3 days of the week, put the first 2 days of it in like containers or whatever, and then get ready to go. But yeah, all right, let's get into it. So this game week was very bad, and then Salah kind of made my red arrow not horrendously massive. Adams and Ings, the whole game I was saying, okay, I saw Che Adams score, I'm like, okay, this is good. I need Ings to get a goal as well. Okay, Ings got an assist, okay, and then Ings and Adams had a potential link up a couple of times, and Ings didn't score. So I was like, okay, this is not good, because Ings, Adams and McCarthy this is not enough points. I can't have you averaging around 6 points, because if Kane gets a goal and bonus points, it's gonna ruin my rank. And that's exactly what happened. And Vardy also made it worse too. And to make things even worse, he got an assist from Justin, who ended up getting 2 bonus points, a clean sheet, and an assist, which didn't make things great. But overall, let's run through the team. So McCarthy, 6 points. Again, doing quite well for us. I see no reason why we need to drop him. He's got one. He didn't keep a clean sheet here, but we're talking about 6-pointers or more. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across the 12 weeks. So basically 1 and 2, which is quite good. I had both Justin, Vardy, and Martinez. Yeah, I mean, yeah, then you're looking probably okay. Martinez was another one that was a bit annoying, but a lot of people did sell him. And if you had McCarthy, you probably weren't upset either. Lamptey not playing is a big bummer. Actually, I'm going to refresh the team to see if they've done the automatic substitutions or the Gameweek rank change. They haven't done that yet. Yeah, Lamptey wasn't in the whole squad because apparently they were protecting him or something. I don't know what that means. But that does mean that he'll probably play against Fulham and Sheffield United and West Ham, which is good. That's what we want him for. If he would have, only got me 1 point, 1 point's not the end of the world. Again, I had nobody on my bench to come in. Burke got me 0. Kilman got me 0. Tellis got me 0. All of them didn't play. Burke wasn't in the entire 18 or 17, however many players it is. Kilman didn't come off the bench, and Tellis didn't come off the bench either. But hopefully, Tellis will be starting versus Sheffield United because it's going to be a team that's going to try to sit back and hit us on the break. So hopefully we bring him in to help out, offensively, because we'll definitely need it, because Sheffield United are in dire need of points. And wouldn't it be nice for United to gift them something? That's probably how it's going to work out. But I think United looked decent defensively overall versus City. So we just need to kick up the offense. And Bruno's very good away from home, so hopefully that's the case. Ayling getting us 1 point. Again, bit frustrating. They played super well in the first half versus West Ham, then tailed off a bit. And just overall, again, defense letting them down as well. Ben Chilwell, only 2 points. Obviously, his team got the didn't do as well. They were on the ascendancy. They had like a large majority of the ball, but again, couldn't score, which is something that you probably won't associate Chelsea with a lot. Personally, they just couldn't score. I think they looked very disjointed when they brought on Tammy Abraham. I think it made things worse. Pulisic not being in the entire squad means that he's potentially injured again, which is now starting to serve a problem because you don't have Pulisic, you don't have Ziyech, who's going to be out for a few weeks. Is Hudson-Odoi reliable? Not really. And if you're going to play Giroud, you need runners off of him. That's the way to get the most effectiveness out of him. And I think that Havertz hasn't done what he's been designed to do, as it were. He's not a right-sided man in a front three. He is a number 10 or a shadow striker. He needs to play in the same system as how Man City are playing, where they have basically De Bruyne as a secondary striker, the number 10 role, and he needs kind of 2 players in behind him to sit. So if you're going to play Havertz, if you're going to play him, that's probably the only position I can see him playing. So what you're going to need in that system is you're going to need players that are going to be cutting inside if you're going to play overlapping fullbacks. So if I'm Lampard and I'm thinking, how am I going to get the best out of Havertz because he's the one who hasn't been performing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, obviously, Mendy in goal, even though he did make a mistake for the only goal, which is a bit unfortunate, but otherwise that was quite good. I'm going to play Reece James and Chilwell as my fullbacks. Doesn't make sense to change that. Zoom and Thiago Silva. Don't need to change that at all. In terms of my 2 deep lying, or my deep lying playmakers, I'm going to play N'Golo Kante. I'm going to play Mason Mount next to him. And I've been a big critic of Mason Mount. However, I've seen him play in that position before, and I think that he is actually quite good at it. He can act as like a box-to-box midfielder. He has a good set of passing range. I think that he may be better suited in that number 8 style of role. He is very energetic. He can last quite long. You can, even if you wanted to, just burn him out there for 60 minutes and then slowly kind of bring him out of the game with like Kovacic or maybe Jorginho if you're trying to lock up shop, because basically Conte can pretty much do it on his own. But what you have to do is just tell Mount, okay, you're going to be a bit more a deep line playmaker. You're probably going to be the assist of the assister maybe. I think that's probably his best suited role. But I think that he's also very capable of making runs into the box. He's also on set pieces too, which is why that would still be a good asset for FPL. On the left, play Timo Werner. No problems there. In the number 10 role, I would be playing the likes of Havertz, as we mentioned. On the right, normally we would play Ziyech, or we would play Pulisic, or someone of that nature. In this case, I think you should insist on playing Callum Hudson-Odoi if he's fit. I don't think he actually is now. We're going to actually just go into that really quickly. This is just kind of a side topic, but I think it's kind of important. So Pulisic, he is flagged. So if you can't, Hudson-Odoi is December 26th, so he's out for the foreseeable future, which is a bit problematic actually. So you might not be able to play that. I don't know where this Faustino Anjurin guy plays. I don't know if he's a central midfielder or not. But it may be a bit of an issue there. What you could do, now I'm not sure if he will do this, Lampard, but you could technically play Reece James at right wing if you wanted to, and play the likes of Azpilicueta at right back. You could do that and just tell Reece James you're just gonna, because Reece James is very good at dribbling with the ball too. You know, that is something that he's very good at. And then you play Tammy Abraham or Giroud through the middle. Probably Giroud, in my opinion. But if you don't have a proper right winger, I think Tammy Abraham's probably better. But I think Giroud's just so good at holding the ball. Regardless of that fact, that's how I would do it. Callum Hudson-Odoi is out. Pulisic could be out. If Pulisic is back, again, Pulisic right wing, Reece James right back, cool, whatever. Then you're fine. I agree with you. Chelsea's thoughts. Mount's beginning to look like a leader that could work with James. His quality play on the wing. Yeah, he can play as a wing back too. Like, there's a bunch of different things he can do, and he's very good at it. I think personally, he should be the starting right back for England going into the Euros. Because I think he's very good at dribbling. He's better at defending than Trent Alexander-Arnold. His cross, his delivery is almost as good. If not just as good. Maybe his free kick, taking probably isn't as good as Trent's. But again, you have a million different people that can take free kicks on England's team. But I think that deep line playmaking spot is good for Mount versus teams that want to sit back. So like they play Wolves this week. Wolves have been playing a bit more expansively, but I think that Mount's energy is very good. And against teams that have a deeper line block, I think you can have that kind of playmaker in there for somebody who can basically almost act as a box-to-box player. And like you said, he's going to be taking the set pieces. But yeah, I digress on Chelsea. That's how I would see it. But that could pose some problems for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if their goal threat kind of went down significantly with if Pulisic is out versus Wolves and West Ham and Arsenal and these sorts of... I mean, they'll probably beat Arsenal because Arsenal are relegation fodder at this point. In actual reality, I think they might struggle versus Aston Villa, though, which could be a bit interesting, depending on if Pulisic is back or not. And it is a congested fixture list, so Pulisic hasn't been keeping fully fit. I think he's kind of turning into a player that we can classify as severely injury-prone, and I think it's just one of the things where he needs to be back in training for probably a month or so, just constantly training, constantly involved in scrimmages in training, obviously given the current guidelines, and to make sure that he is 100% ready to go, because it seems like every time he comes off or every time he plays, it's just a little something here, a little something there, a little something there, then and then he's out for a long time. So we'll have to see. Anyway, the defense was bad, the goalkeeper was okay. Moving on to the midfield, the most frustrating thing I think about the whole week was the fact that Spurs, again, of all people to score, was Harry Kane, who was probably going to be the most captain. And he got 3 bonus points. The second most frustrating thing, or probably the most frustrating thing, was the fact that between United and City, they just didn't want to lose. So they just didn't attack. So yes, 3 points is better than 2, but I was expecting at least something. City's defense isn't that good, personally. I think United could definitely have exploited it, and City could have definitely exploited United's defense. United could have done it from set pieces because City has no height, and City could have done it just playing through the lines had Jesus taken his chance, had Mahrez taken his chance, had Sterling not been blocked by 7,000 United defenders. They could have been, potentially taking the points there. But all in all, a lot of, there's not many people that have these 3 in the team. And I'm actually going to show you guys a wild card, and I'll show you my team value at the end of, or towards the end, how you can get in Son, Kane, Salah, De Bruyne, and Fernandes all in your team if you still have your wild card going into Game Week 16. So I've been trying to draft this up. And if you have slightly more team value than mine, then it makes it look even better. It just makes it so that you have a weak defense. But you could then use your transfers to rotate around the cheaper defenders to get the better players in. So we'll see how that goes. But Jack Grealish, getting the 1-0 win towards the end of the game was good for them. Dean Smith came out and said that it's Grealish is the one that chooses who takes penalties. And he happened to choose El Ghazi because he said that El Ghazi was good in training. And El Ghazi said that usually it's between Watkins and Grealish. And since El Ghazi missed, it was Grealish's turn. So the fact that Grealish keeps giving these penalties away to other people makes no sense to me. However, El Ghazi put it away, so not going to complain there overall. For obviously, if you're an Aston Villa fan. As an FPL owner, to hear that, bit discouraging, unfortunately. I got my wild card, and I think I got 103 million team value. Well, yours could be the sweet spot, personally. We'll see that in a bit. Salah captain, getting a bonus point. Salah continues to return. I've also returned 10 captaincies, so I've gotten a return from a captain in 10 out of 12 weeks, so we're doing very good on that. Problem is that we've gone the last 3 weeks, so game week 11, 10, and 9, we had small green arrows. This week, the red arrow took us right back to where we were, which is unfortunate. I'm just going to refresh really quickly just to see if they've updated. I believe it looks like they have updated the game week rank. Yeah, they updated the game week rank, so I will change that. So what was it? 4.14 game week rank. So it looks like they're updating things now. 4.14. So not as bad as what we thought, but still pretty bad. So yeah, but Salah getting us another return. Again, I literally heard the commentator say Salah's going to be coming off at the next break. They won the free kick. The free kick was then put into the wall, which the guy handballed it. You can't be lifting your arm up like this and turning your back towards it. It's gonna probably be called as a handball, to be honest, and it did strike him in the arm. And then Salah took a penalty, which was pretty bad personally, but it went in, so it could have been a lot worse. So I'm definitely gonna take that. Adams getting a goal and some bonus points, not bad. Bamford getting an assist, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get a nice goal. Again, only with just an assist. Ings, this is the story of what could have been. And that was a total of 51 points. -4 leaves us with 47. And I think the average in the top 10K was 60. So again, could have been a bigger red arrow. Potentially. Could have definitely been a bigger red arrow. But overall, I think we did okay given the circumstances. Because of the fact that a certain Jamie Vardy spoils the party, and Harry Kane and Son exist. And Harry Kane was, apart from Vardy, was probably the better captaincy choice this week because Harry Kane would end up on 18. And if you had Harry Kane and Salah, or Harry Kane and Vardy, or all three, then you were looking pretty good, pretty much. So, and I know a lot of people still have Vardy because they did bring him in. Horrible kick from Salah, and I had him captain. Yeah, a lot of people did. Yeah, it was a pretty bad penalty. I don't understand why he just didn't lace it like he normally does. If you've ever seen, if anyone wants to see a great penalty kick, go watch how Harry Kane takes penalties, or you can go back and watch, who was it that Southampton played week before last? Who'd they play? Brighton. Go watch Danny Ings' penalty. He literally runs up to it, hits it with a bit of instep, bit of whip, a lot of power, and just blasts it into the side netting. If you can hone that technique, that's the best way to take a penalty. And Harry Kane typically does it all the time, which is why he's so good at them. And is one of the very few players that when he basically steps up to a penalty, you're thinking, yeah, this is going in. But yeah, overall, not great. Not great overall. But let's take a look at the scores and how we did for our predictions overall. So last week we had a stormer of a week. We got 10 points. So if you don't know how the system works, Basically, for predictions, what we do is if you get the exact score right, so result and score, so if I had predicted West Ham to beat Leeds 2-1, I would get 3 points. If I predicted a West Ham win that wasn't the correct score line, so if I predicted West Ham was going to beat Leeds 4-0 and they won 2-1, I get 1 point. But if I, like how I predicted here, Leeds to win 2-1, or I predicted Leeds to draw with West Ham and they lost, then I get 0 points. So in this case, I get 0 points because I thought Leeds would actually win the game 2-1, and they definitely could have by potentially more, but overall not great for Leeds, and are actually, they do play quite good, and a lot of people are, thinking that they're going to continue to do well, but they need to start picking up points, because when you're in the same field as Arsenal, it's a bad time, but all things considered, I think Leeds should pick it up. Aston Villa predicted to win 3-1 over Wolves. They ended up winning 1-0, so we got 1 point for that. Newcastle 2-0 over West Brom. They ended up winning 2-1, so again 1 point. United and City drew 0-0. I predicted 1-1. Everton ended up beating Chelsea 1-0. So I got the Everton amount of goals right, just Chelsea didn't score 3, which is a bit unfortunate for our predictions. Southampton, Sheffield United, we predicted that exactly right. A 3-0 victory, so we get 3 points there. Spurs and Crystal Palace, Liverpool and Fulham both drew 1-1, and I predicted wins for the two teams in the top 2 at the moment, so no points there. Burnley we predicted right as well, 1-0 over Arsenal, so again 3 points there. And then Leicester we predicted a 2-1 win over Brighton. They end up winning 3-0, so we get 1 point there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that right? 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 10 again. Which is pretty good. So we matched our score. We got 2 exact scores right this time, but a lot less right overall. So again, doing quite well for ourselves. What we want to do ideally is get 1 exact score right and over half of them right normally, if we can. That's usually what we're kind of looking for. But in terms of our differential picks, I hate to say it, but they were all pretty bad. There was no clean sheet for Spurs. Darlow conceded and didn't even get a save point. Trent Alexander-Arnold went off with just 2 points. Ward-Prowse was not involved, even though his team won and did put in some pretty good deliveries. Vestergaard could have potentially put some in. And Chris Wood missed a sitter and didn't score and got subbed before 90 minutes. So our differentials were 0-for-5, so not great there. But some surprises of the week, just Chelsea not being able to score was one. The 2 Manchester clubs just playing so timidly. Southampton pretty much did what we expected. Spurs, I pretty much thought that was going to happen. I just didn't want Kane and Son to assist and score with each other again. Liverpool losing to Fulham was interesting. That could potentially be, bad for them going into the marquee matchup on, I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever they play versus each other. And Brighton, a lot of people say they have this fantastic style of football. They do this, they do that. They're just not good. Personally, I think they play some good football for maybe 30 minutes, then get tired, and then they're bad, and they can't stop goals from going in their net. You should tell viewers to predict as well in the comments without edit there. Shout out the best bets every week. I could do that. You know what? Let's do that. Leave a comment down below on these videos what your predictions are for the games, and if I see somebody who gets and tell me what your point score is based on our scoring point, and I'll shout you out if I see a comment for somebody who, if there's only one person in there, then obviously then whatever. But if there's multiple people in there, I'll make sure to pick out the best person in there, and I'll shout you out and be like, hey, look, this person knows what they're doing. And I'll say they got 10 points or 12 points or 2 points or however many points. And Zodiac's going to do it as well. That's a smart idea. I never thought of that. Moving on swiftly here to the fixtures for this week. So let's bring over our handy dandy notepad across. So I think that Wolves, they're in a bit of a crossroads here. So they have a problem by which they want to play better football, but they still can't score. And they don't know what formation to do that with, because the personnel, and also João Moutinho is now suspended for a game, which is not good for them. They have 3 midfielders pretty much that are mainstays that can play. Ruben Neves, who's a deep-lying CDM who has a pretty good long shot. They have Dendonker, who's kind of a destroyer, good aerial presence. And then they have Matinho, who's like a very slow but more methodical creator. Unfortunately, that's not going to do them any good, really. You need people to play the ball in quick. You need to play the ball in from longer range. You need to be able, got my words mixed up, to be able to play it in behind because you have Traore, because you have Podence, because you have Neto. These sorts of players don't want the ball at their feet. They want the ball to be played in behind, or they want to already have the ball at their feet and start running at somebody. With that being said, I think Chelsea would definitely bounce back. I think Wolves' identity crisis as it is causing a problem. I think without Raul Jimenez, they're going to not be able to score those late goals that Raul Jimenez is able to do. And I think Chelsea come back and win this one. I think they probably keep clean sheet as well. I think Everton did well to get a goal versus them. But I think it's just going to be a professional performance. And they're going to beat them by the same scoreline that they beat them on the last day of this last season as well. 2-0, I think. City versus West Brom. I think it's going to be quite simple. I think it's going to be a big scoreline. I think 4-0 is probably what's on the cards here. Arsenal versus Southampton. I don't see Arsenal scoring because they can't. And I think Southampton will do a professional job on them. And I think they win the game 2-0 and keep a clean sheet. Leeds versus Newcastle. Newcastle are bad. Leeds are supposedly bad based on their position in the table. But I think they still win this game. I think maybe Newcastle nick one, but I think Leeds will win the game 2-1. Leicester versus Everton. Could be interesting. Could definitely be interesting. Both teams, aren't the most sound defensively. I think it could be a bit of a shootout. I just think that Everton, maybe it's a bit close. Maybe one team takes it over the other. Maybe Everton nicks it, but I think that both teams have mistakes in them potentially. And I think Vardy's probably better suited to beat Everton's defense. But I'm going to go with a higher scoring draw. I'm going to go with a 2-2. Fulham versus Brighton. I mean, Fulham look pretty good. Brighton are still bad. I'm going to say Fulham win this one. I'm going to say Fulham win it 2-1. Because I think Fulham played really well against Liverpool today. And against a defense like Brighton, who's just bad. Even though the stats show that they don't concede many shots. But when they do concede shots, they go in. I think Fulham could potentially, do something there. Liverpool versus Spurs. This may sound crazy, but I'm going to predict Spurs win 2-1. And here's why. I think that Liverpool have shown that teams that sit in or that frustrate them and that can beat them, by just, playing quick, fast football can cause them problems. And I think that with the midfield, the functioning midfield. Now this may change with the fact that Oxlade-Chamberlain's coming back. They don't have Thiago. They basically need somebody who's like a deeper line creator when basically the front three can't get things going. And Jose Mourinho is going to know how to beat that pretty much. And I think he's just going to do exactly what he did versus City. He's going to sit in. He's going to frustrate them. The fullback's going to try to get forward. And then Son's going to go running behind Trent Alexander-Arnold. And Kane's going to spray the ball in behind him. And no one's going to catch him. I don't think Fabinho's going to catch him. I don't think Jordan Henderson's going to catch him. I don't care who's back there. They ain't going to catch him. So I think that they definitely get some counter attacking goals. And I think it's going to be a red arrow again. And I think that Spurs are going to do well, personally. And I think they could do the same thing versus Leicester as well. Which is why I'm worried as to, game week 16 or 15 can't come soon enough. And Matip could be injured too. He got taken off at halftime. So we'll have to see. On that front. But I think Matip came off injured. West Ham versus Palace. Again, Palace showed a good account of themselves. West Ham are a lot more astute defensively now. Could be a bit of a backwards and forwards. I think a 1-1 is probably a fair result here. Don't expect anything crazy. Aston Villa versus Burnley. Villa like to burn you on the break. I think Burnley could potentially frustrate them. I see this is potentially a low-scoring game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 here as well. And Sheffield United versus Manchester United, I think it's going to be a 3-0 United. I think it should be a clean sheet for United as well. And I think it should be no problems there. Sheffield United is just terrible. And United are very good away from home. For the clean sheet this week, Man United, pretty straightforward. Sheffield United really can't score. And they refuse to just play just anyone, really. Aston Villa goalkeeper Martinez is my differential pick for this week. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with a 1-0 for Aston Villa. I think that Martinez is good enough to keep them out and stop them from actually being able to score. I think that's going to be the case. And then for defense, we've gone with Yannick Vestergaard. If there's one thing that Arsenal showed that they're not very good on, is set pieces. I mean, you have Aubameyang trying to reach some goal tally so that he can get extra bonuses in his contract. So he's even putting the ball in his own net to try to see if he can do that. So I think Vestergaard is definitely going to cause problems for their backline. Mason Mount, we highlighted him earlier. He's someone that we've pinpointed. I think he could potentially provide a key role in against Wolves and will cause them problems potentially from a deeper lying role if he is, kind of put there. And then I think that Welbeck could be someone who's quite interesting. Again, Fulham, they like to play, through the lines. Both teams are going to go for it. And I think that if not Aston Villa, Brighton are going to take their chances, I think Welbeck is going to be the one to do that. So that is our clean sheet and differential picks for the game week. So the key fixtures that we're going to be potentially looking at this week, or the ones that I'm interested in, is Liverpool versus Spurs. That's on the Wednesday. We're also going to be potentially looking at the potential blowouts: Man City and West Brom, Sheffield United versus Man United. Those are the two that people are going to be looking at. The Bruno versus KDB. Who's going to get more points in that game in terms of captaincy wise? So this is my current team that I have, and this is my current, what they like to call a current, I think it's called a current bus team. Basically what it's saying is that if you happen to be, people say hit by a bus or whatever, hope that doesn't happen, knock on wood. But basically if you were ever in a point where you couldn't change your FPL team, you set it up at the beginning of the week just in case, like the second you're able to do so that in the event that you lose internet, or your computer breaks, or you can't get on the internet for whatever reason to change your team, it's already there for you. So at least you have a week to get everything sorted to basically set your team up again. So I currently have the captaincy on Kevin De Bruyne. I think that United are going to want to go out and beat Sheffield United, so I'm making the switch now, and I'm going to save that. But I'm probably going to flip-flop back and forth the whole week. But if we just run through the team really quickly. McCarthy in goal. Obviously, we're going to play him. I mean, he's going to keep a clean sheet because, Arsenal aren't very good. We have Telles in there. I believe he's going to start versus Sheffield United, as Shaw started versus City. I think basically if you're going to play against a team that's bad and they're going to need to break them down, Telles is going to play in there. And I think if Shaw does play in this game, I think that poses a bit of problems. Because if we're playing a back five and Shaw's in there, then that's just a weird formation to play against Sheffield United, personally. But if you play Telles in there, he can create more chances. And I think he's the best left foot, potentially, apart from Mason Greenwood, in the team. And if it's terms of delivery, Telles is definitely one of the better delivers of the ball. Although, credit to Luke Shaw, his corners were in very good positions and are just absolute atrocious. Just heading of the ball, can't keep it on target. Big, tall players that don't actually know how to head the ball. Like, since Maguire has come to the club, I think he scored like one header, maybe. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, he was so good for England in the World Cup and just hasn't done it since. So, is what it is. We've gone with Ayling over Lamptey in defense because he's got the home fixture. That's pretty much it. Chilwell versus Wolves. We're going to play Chilwell over Lamptey because, yeah. I mean, Lamptey is it versus Fulham. I'm tempted to put Lamptey in versus Fulham, but the way Fulham played, Newcastle didn't inspire me too much. I thought West Brom played okay. The bits that I saw, that was one of the games that I didn't see too much of. But I think that Ayling could potentially provide some attacking threat, just like Lamptey. He does have a home fixture. Are Newcastle going to just park the bus? And are they going to just basically neutralize Newcastle because of the press? Maybe. It's not like Leeds are going to get beaten on the break from Callum Wilson and Joe Linton. They have enough pace to get back. And Fulham played quite well. And Brighton, I just don't think are going to keep clean sheets. Mind you, he's probably going to end up with a 15-pointer. But that could come down to the, knowing the fact that he could potentially play. I'll have to go look at the numbers, but how Newcastle are doing defensively. But we'll see. Obviously, Grealish is going to play. Salah's going to play. Captaincy currently on Fernandes or De Bruyne. I have it on Fernandes. A little bit of bias there, being a United fan. But also with the fixtures, he will be the last player of the week. So if you've seen, again, the whole week and you've seen, okay, there's been some, maybe De Bruyne gets a goal or just an assist. Maybe Salah gets an assist. Maybe Kane gets just a goal. Maybe Son gets just an assist. And you think, Sheffield United versus Man United, you think maybe there's a big hole in for Bruno Fernandes. And if we actually, I'm going to bring up the last time. So Man United versus Sheffield United, the most recent results. Where is it? 2019, 2020 Premier League. So we won 3-0 at home last season, with Martial scoring the hat-trick and Rashford with 2 assists and Wan-Bissaka with an assist. And then before that, Greenwood, Rashford, Brandon Williams scored in a 3-3. That was before Bruno Fernandes came in. But if we do look at a certain Bruno Fernandes's away scores, he has not blanked yet. 12 points, 11 points, 17 points, 10 points, 6 points. He has not blanked away from home. And I think United will definitely want to make sure that they win this game with a very tough fixture coming against Leeds on the weekend. So I think we're definitely going to have to go out there and put them to the sword. We want to use these sorts of games to not only get the guaranteed 3 points, but we want to make sure that you can boost your goal difference, because United's goal difference isn't that great at the moment. Let me bring up the Premier League table. EPL table. So if I just bring this across really quickly. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me just move this out of the way. So that's what the table looks like at the moment. That's all 20 teams. So if you look at the goal differences here, Spurs are on 14, Liverpool on 9, Leicester on 9, Southampton on 7, Chelsea on 13, West Ham on 5, Everton on 3. We're on 2. So basically, City and Aston Villa, with the if they have the same number of points as us, then we're behind them. Basically, the only other team that we'd be ahead of for sure is Crystal Palace. But everyone else from 10th up has a better goal difference than Man United. So they need to get their act together and start getting some goals and not conceding any. And I think that starts with Bruno, and I think it starts with Martial getting back on the score sheet, and I think it starts with United actually playing players that should be playing. In this game, I don't want to see McTominay. I don't want to see Matic. I don't want to see, a back five. I don't want to see any of that. You want to see Telles. You want to see, I would even say Brandon Williams at right back, because he flies forward as well. I want to see Fred holding in front of the back, the 2 center backs, and I want to see Van der Beek, Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood, Martial. I want to see all these players in there, specifically the midfield 3. If you're going to play Pogba after what he said, cool, whatever. If he goes out there and performs on the pitch, I don't care. You got to play Van der Beek, you got to play Bruno, you got to play Pogba, because if you pass them to death and just absolutely just blitz them off the park in terms of possession and just keep them penned into their final third and just say Fred, Maguire, and then Lindelof, just sit back here, you guys are going to occupy their 2 forwards, because it's going to be like Billy Sharp and McBurney, who are just useless anyway in terms of just actual attacking threat. And then it should be very easy to deal with them overall. But yeah, that's for United. Our front three, we got Adams and Ings, who should be able to score versus Arsenal, no problem. And Patrick Bamford versus Newcastle with Lamptey, Burke, and Kilman on the bench. That's going to stay in that order no matter if I put Lamptey in for Ayling or not. Yeah, the offensive central midfielders are crucial because, again, Sheffield United, they're not going to set up, you know, and be able to hurt United at all. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, they can't score at all. Like, if we look at when like Sheffield United, they've scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 goals all season. Is that right? It's a very low number, basically. They haven't scored very many. And they just don't play Brian Brewster. And they just keep playing McBurney and McGoldrick and, you know, I have Burke on my team and I think he does well, but he gets to the final third and just his brain turns off or something. I don't know. Yeah, just a bit weird personally, overall. And I think that United should be able to handle him quite well. Same as City for West Brom. There could be a potential chance that De Bruyne is benched for this game. That would be my worry, which is why I'm leaning towards Fernandes as well, because we know that he's been rested for 45 minutes, and we see what happens when you bench Bruno. It's bad. United plays like crap, basically. So I think that you have to play him. Overall, I think that you have to play him. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it needs to be. Let me just check to see if they've updated the. So my overall rank is 1.74. Yes, it is. Overall rank. So I can remove the asterisk there. 1.41. Yeah. So if you look at our Gameweek history, 1.78 mil. Had a green arrow, and then right back to where we were, which is, a bit unfortunate. We've kind of bubbled up and down in team value overall. Well, that's not the end of the world. We should be able to pick it back up if the players that we bring in do well. And our wild card will definitely help us with that. Probably not as much as what it would do in the beginning of the season, but again, information is better than team value. And with this week with such a quick turnaround, because we look, today is Sunday, the next set of games start on Tuesday. So we literally have Monday, and then the deadline is 12:30 my time, which is 11:30 EST. What are my transfer thoughts for the next 3 weeks? I can actually show you that. So what I'm planning on doing is, so this week do nothing, because I don't, unless something happens to where I need to get rid of somebody, I won't. And that'll be for Gameweek 13. So we'll skip ahead to that. So assuming nothing, this is assuming everything's perfect, all my players stay healthy, I think they're going to play, all that sort of stuff. Gameweek 14 is when we make some changes. We would potentially look to bring in a Liverpool defender for their 2 good fixtures versus Palace and versus West Brom, and also to get another supplier in there. Tellez, Leeds at home, Leicester away isn't great, so we would get rid of him. And then the other player we would get rid of would have to be Ben Chilwell, because West Ham at home isn't all that. Personally, I think that West Ham can still score versus them. And Arsenal is a derby, and again, who knows what can happen there. And then we would just need to play somebody. Lamptey's going to play in Gameweek 14 versus Sheffield United at home. And could play against West Ham away. Ailing is going to play in Game Week 15. So basically, we just need somebody to play. We would just need to bring in somebody. That's on Chelsea, that's why. Liverpool. Alexander-Arnold, assuming he doesn't go up. So we would just need to bring in somebody that's good in basically 14 and 15. Because Lamptey would play in 14, maybe 15. Ailing we would play in 15, definitely not 14. So if we bring in somebody, I think Target is somebody who is potentially on the radar. He's 4.5 million exactly. Again, has West Brom and Crystal Palace. Should be fine overall. If he happens to go up in price by the time we go to potentially purchase him, we would have to go a different route. So if I'm looking at defenders that have good fixtures potentially, I would look for somebody who has a better Game Week 14 fixture. So I could go with Jamal Lewis, who has Fulham at home. So I could play him, and then I could bench him and then just play Lamptey versus West Ham. And that's how we would do it. And then basically we would play, obviously, a back three. We'd play our 4 midfielders, we'd play our 3 forwards up front. So that's how that would work out. And then assuming we have no money in the bank, we would go into game 15 with a transfer. So if we wanted to change something up, we could definitely do it. You know, we could switch some things around. We could do whatever we want, or save that transfer for, you know, like an oh no moment type thing. If we wanted to bring in potentially, you know, do a goalkeeper transfer, we could look to do that if we wanted to. Although the goalkeepers that I would potentially get, that'd be at 4.5 million. Are they going to be better than McCarthy at Fulham at home? Probably not. Wouldn't want to get rid of Adams, Ings, or Bamford because they all have pretty good fixtures. Obviously, Fernandes has Leicester away, which could potentially be good for him. De Bruyne has Newcastle at home. Salah's got West Brom. Grealish has Palace. So we'd be pretty much set up, and that'd be kind of used for that in the event that somebody is potentially like, you know, potentially it's going to be potentially, you know, they might miss the game, or I think they might get rotated or something like that. That's what I would use that transfer for. Will you transfer out because of lack of performance or bad fixtures? I would just transfer out Chilwell because I think Trent Alexander-Arnold will get more points than he will. So Chilwell in Game Week 14 and 15, he plays West Ham at home, which is a London derby, and West Ham have been quite good defensively, and a decent offensively. And then Chelsea have Arsenal away, which again, Arsenal are bad, but again, they may increase the level. And you know, with the kind of the big six, you never know what can happen. Whereas we know Liverpool versus Crystal Palace should be an easier fixture on paper. And then also they have West Brom. Should be an easier fixture. And then we get rid of Telles because we don't know if Telles is going to play those games, nor we want to play him versus Leeds or Leicester. It would just be bad fixtures in general. So that's pretty much what we would do. Now, let's get on to that interesting wild card that we talked about. So, we get rid of Ings, we get rid of Adams, we get rid of Burke, we get rid of Grealish, we get rid of Target, Kilman, Trent, Lamptey, and we could just keep McCarthy just for now. I'm going to put in Jamal Lewis, who actually has some pretty good fixtures from January onwards. Hey, Mono, how's it going? We're just going through a potential wildcard. This is going to be the be-all, end-all wildcard. This is how to get in KDB, Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Son, Kane, and still have a good team overall. Here's how to do it. So, bring in Charlie Taylor. We bring in Ferguson, who is potentially on his way back at some point. Although he had a bit of a thigh strain. He was seen in training, but I'm not sure how far out he is. But again, he's 3.9 now, so a little bit cheaper. We need Hyunmin Son in there. We need Harry Kane in there. We need Ryan Brewster in there. We need Souček in there. And then what you could do is, if you didn't feel comfortable with obviously playing, you know, Lewis versus Liverpool and Leicester, you could just bring in. There was one defender that had pretty good fixtures. Can't remember who it was. Let's see if we can go find them. Let's see if we can go and find them. Was it Kufal? I mean, it was West Ham in general. Have you know, decent enough fixtures. So you could bring in like Kufal as an example. Worst case, you use Balbuena. And then you would have I just pick up 4 million defender. So Jagielka did play a game for Sheffield United. Maybe they bring in some experience. They've been having some troubles at the back. Maybe he sees a run of games. Who knows? But you could just bring in another dud defender if you want. Now, if you have an extra million, so my total team value is 1 moment. So my squad value with my team currently on screen is 106 million. Not 106, 101.6. So 101.6 with 0.2 in the bank. So I'm slightly less than 102 million. However, if we go to transfers again and see the list value, I've had McCarthy in since 4.5. I've had Ayling in, he hasn't changed. I'm able to sell Chilwell at 6 million. I'm able to sell Grealish at 7.7. Salah, I've had him in since 12.2. De Bruyne, I've had him in since 11.7. Fernandes, I've had him in since 10.8. Bamford, I've had him in since 6. So on and so forth. So I'm just shy of 102 team value million. So if you had an extra million, you could take out Jagielka. You bring in, I don't know. What's Target's fixtures look like? Not ideal. But you could bring in, we'll just pick some generic 4.5 million defender. And then we'll pick, you know, Lewis as an example. And then what you could do is basically rotate between your 5 defenders that you all know are going to start. And go for it. If you have an extra million and a bit, then you replace, you know, one of these defenders for Reece James. And then you go from there. So if I had an extra 1 million, I could just get a 4 million defender or whatever. That's probably not going to play. If I had an extra 1.2 million, I could just get Lewis as well. And then the team's looking really good. Like, and basically what you would do is you play 3-5-2, you play Reece James, you play Kufal, Ayling, or whoever this defender is here. You just keep Ferguson on your bench. You play Son, Salah, De Bruyne, Fernandes, Souček every week. Just doesn't matter because Souček can score against anyone, has good fixtures. Fernandes, De Bruyne, Salah, Son, you just play them every week. And you play Bamford and Kane every week, and then you have Brewster on your bench. So I could technically still do it. It's just I would need a little bit extra money in the bank. Now, I could technically still kind of do it if I wanted to. It would just be, you know, be a bit of a scuffed one. I'd have to bring in like Welbeck here. You know, he has some decent enough fixtures. He could probably manage, but again, he's not great. Reece James could be. I'll just pick some. I'll pick Taylor. And then I can get a 4.6 million defender. Who's 4.6 million? Dallas, let's say. And you know, I could still definitely do it. Obviously, Welbeck isn't great, but it'll do. If Brewster was actually useful and playing in game out, you could potentially just play him over Souček in some fixtures, but they don't play him, which is a bit unfortunate. So I could potentially go with something like this to ensure that I at least have 2 playing players, as it were. So I know I have Brewster, I know I have another defender, you know. And like Welbeck's fixtures, you know, he has, so we would have him for Arsenal at home, Wolves at home, City away, which is rough. So there's no real other forwards that are in that, you know, bracket, as it were. You know, Bobby De Cordova-Reid could be good, but he plays for Fulham, so, you know, can't really trust him. If Joe Linton keeps playing the way he does, now I said I would never bring in Joe Linton, but again, there's an option. If Connolly's doing well and getting a run of starts, he's always a player that looks lively. So again, but he's on Brighton, which isn't great. There's no real players that are doing well for their price. If Fabio Silva plays a lot, if he's starting game in, game out, then he could be a real game changer because he's 5.2. He's real cheap. Then we can do all kinds of stuff. You know, we could have Reece James in there, no problem, and then just get in whatever defender. And then we're looking real good. And then we can play Fabio Silva and Kane with Souček and Fernandes and Son and De Bruyne and Salah. All these players, James, Ayling, Kufal, game in, game out. Kufal has, you know, we would have him for basically this run of fixtures. Well, this run of fixtures, really. You know, against, you know, Liverpool wouldn't be great, but still. Ayling, we'd have him for more or less that kind of run. Reece James, we would just play him because he's good. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. There's definitely things you can do with the wild card. And again, this all depends on price rises and that sort of stuff. I can still always get a I think there is a 3.8 million defender somewhere. Yes, this dude. Douglas, who's gone on loan for Leeds. So he's 3.8. So it's definitely doable. But it all depends on if Fabio Silva is going to play. I mean, Wolves' fixtures, we'd have him here. Pretty good set of 4 fixtures. In the medium term, kind of Longer term, a little bit decent. This run could be pretty good because Raul Jimenez could be back by here. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. We don't know. But that's basically the team structure. So you have there's different names. The Scoutcast and a lot of people have given them. But yeah, you have the Holy Trinity in Salah, De Bruyne, Fernandes, and then you have the dynamic duo in Kane and Son. You'd have both of those. Sorry, but I have to go to sleep now. Gotta go to work. It's okay. We're not gonna be on for much longer, but thank you for joining us, Zodiac. Always appreciated. Yep, no worries. It's not gonna be for much longer. We will be back either tomorrow, same time as tonight, or we're gonna be here for the deadline. Which you'll probably be at work for, but we'll see. We'll definitely post on Twitter what we're doing, so make sure to check that out. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. But yeah, that's basically what it would be. But it all stems on if Souček is fit. If Souček is fit, there's nobody really we would want that would be in that bracket. In the midfield slot. Because if we look, midfielders, 5.3 and lower. Solly March, no. Westwood, no. Jorginho, no. Romeo, no. Lookman, maybe. Probably not. Costa, no. Wijnaldum, no. Kouyaté, no. Decore, no. Hendrick, no. Højbjerg, no. Conte, no. Anguissa, no. Rice, no. De Donker, no. Maximin, no. Bert, no. Like, all these players are not good. Overall. Basuma is good because we know he's going to play game in, game out, but he's a defensive midfielder and he's just going to be bench fodder that he knows is going to get 2 points every week. But Souček's going to be the player that's going to be in there getting points for his team. But yeah, this is basically what we can potentially run with if Fabio Silva is playing. If he plays. But we don't know the timeline on Raul Jimenez. That's the only worry, and I think sometimes he might drop Fabio Silva, but we'll have to see. He got his first start. I think he looked lively. He played 90 minutes. Definitely brought something different. But could definitely be a differential. But yeah, overall, this is what the team's looking like for the time being. We're not going to make any transfers this week. Captaincy is either going to be on Bruno or De Bruyne. And we're either going to play Lamptey or Ayling. We're definitely going to play Tellez and Chilwell, and it's either going to be one of those two. I'll probably make my mind up later on, but the bench will be that format as well. Reed for Fulham, not ideal personally. We like Souček just because he's that extra 0.5, but he's going to be involved. Like, they literally aimed for him and Ogbonna specifically for set pieces. Reed's not necessarily going to be that guy that gets involved. 5.3 million for, yeah, I mean, not. I don't really see it personally. Fulham is a team that I know West Ham is going to bring some type of solidity, and Souček's going to play game in, game out, and they're going to aim for him on set pieces, and he's always a danger on set pieces anyway because he's just so tall. I just see him as potentially a better, and also cheap players. If you can get them in midfield over your forward line, can be better. You're paying 0.3 less for somebody who's probably a bit more potent, as it were. Lastly, I just wanted to run through the normal videos, kind of normally what we would do. Tonight, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to do the tactics talk. However, I will be at home tomorrow to do the tactics talk for Arsenal versus Spurs. I know it's been delayed, but I would definitely do it. It will be out tomorrow. And the other normal videos we obviously won't be able to do because of the how close the turnaround is. But it will be out tomorrow. City United was just 0-0. Both teams neutralized each other. City had some half chances. That's pretty much it. We know my wild carding. I'm saving my wild card until for game week 16, basically. So fixtures. So this fixture here is when my wild card team will be active, basically. This game right here, game week 16. Because that's the last time that you can use it. So for me, for the deadline, if you look how close it is going to be tough. So, game week 15, games end on the 27th at 3 in the afternoon my time, which is 7 p.m. UK time. Next game's at 11 in the morning my time the next day. So it's less than 12. It's around 16 hours or so, something like that, between wildcarding. So it's going to be rough, but that's when I'm going to do it. And by then, hopefully, we know double game week news. We've already heard that game week 18-19, West Ham is going to have a double game week, which is why the Souček thing is even better. It's just even better. And maybe we look to try to see if we can keep as much money in the bank for Antonio, potentially, if he's back. Or we have a West Ham defender already in. because they'll have good fixtures. So that's what we could potentially look for. Yeah. In terms of the normal videos that we do, so captaincy this week, I think De Bruyne and Fernandes are like, you know, the S tier, as it were. I think if you're looking at somebody potentially next, I think probably Kane and Vardy are probably equal. So probably Kane slightly higher than Vardy. And then after that, I wouldn't go any riskier than that. Buy, hold, sell this week. I'd say a player that is a must buy this week. You have to have a City player this week. I think that has to. I think De Bruyne and Fernandes are must this week. I don't see any other reason why not. I think that holds this week. I think if you have Mane, I think that if you have, I'm just trying to think of any other potential players. I think if you have Jesus. I think that if you have Timo Werner, I think those sorts of players you're gonna kind of keep them. But yeah, Madison is another one. Leicester defense, probably not. I think Everton will probably be okay. I think that if you have Calvert-Lewin, I think you probably keep him now. I think selling him before the game week gone would have probably been okay, but I think you definitely keep him now because his fixtures aren't as bad now. I think sells probably Watkins, personally. I think you sell bit tough. There's not many bad sells this. Oh, well, if you have Arsenal players, just sell them all. Personally, I think Wolves defense probably is a good sell this week. But apart from that, it's a lot of good buys this week, I would say. And then for Pep Roulette, I think he's for the West Brom game. I think he's going to play Laporte. I think he'll play Benjamin Mendy. I think he'll play either Cancelo or Walker right back. I think he potentially plays John Stones again. Maybe he plays Diaz. Because he doesn't want to play Stones, you know, close games in quick succession. Midfield, he plays probably a bit more offensively. I think he plays Rodri. I think he plays maybe Gundogan if he's back. And I think then he could potentially rotate De Bruyne, possibly, to rest him. But he rested him midweek last week, so I don't see it happening. I think he just plays De Bruyne throughout the whole Christmas period. So let's say he'll play De Bruyne in there. Up front, he'll probably play the same guys. Sterling, Jesus, Mars. I don't see why Aguero would come straight back in after not being on the bench at all. Yeah, I think that should be it. I don't know why Foden is getting game time, but still. And then lineup news, pretty much it's going to be the team that you see on the screen. Apart from the fact that Ayling could be Lamptey, and then they'll swap for first sub. And Fernandes is high percentage chance he's the captain. De Bruyne is probably my vice captain, most likely. Because there is, I would say, a slight chance that De Bruyne gets rested. Slight chance. Which is why I would put the captaincy on Fernandes more times than not, because they know that we need to get these points versus Sheffield United. City, they could probably beat West Brom without De Bruyne, almost certainly. KDB could be risky. I mean, he's played 90 minutes for 6 game weeks straight, but he hasn't really been playing too much in the Champions League. But I think Pep knows. I mean, De Bruyne last Christmas period played every game week except for... No, I think he played every game week last Christmas, so it should be fine. Salah came off slightly early, but he's going to play because it's Spurs. I don't see why he wouldn't. Maybe he gets rested versus Palace, but then he'll be back for West Brom, almost certainly, which is what we want. I think that would actually be good. I would hope that would happen. But again, Salah's a rhythm player. He's the type of player that needs to play constant minutes to keep playing. But with Jota out, he's just gonna have to play every game, I think, unfortunately, which is good because that's what we want. And Liverpool were lucky to draw. Yeah, I would say the Fulham played quite well overall. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. I think we covered everything. We've gone to 1 hour and 10 minutes. I almost said 110 minutes. Hour and 10 minutes. So we've done quite well for ourselves. But yeah, we're either going to be back tomorrow, same time. Let me go to the big screen here. So we're either going to be back tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. EST, or we're going to be here 1 hour before the deadline. So the deadline is 12:30 my time, which is 11:30 a.m. EST, which is 3:30 p.m. UK time for those that are in that time zone. But if you wanted to check to see which time zone it is, just scroll down. It'll say Gameweek 13 Tuesday the 15th or 16th, whichever, could be part of the world you're in. December, and then it's going to say a time. We're going to be there 1 hour before that. So just make sure to follow us here on Twitter or on Twitch and follow us on all the socials. Subscribe to YouTube, all that stuff. And yeah, we'll be here for it. And make sure to bring your questions for what potentially could be changes in your team, potentially changes you might see in my team. Maybe we'll discuss the whole wildcard team again. Maybe we see some developments around injuries or potential, rumors in the transfer mill that may keep players out, whatever it may be. But yeah, we'll be here, and I'll make sure to update you guys probably by the end or tomorrow afternoon. If I haven't heard anything by like tomorrow afternoon, I'll probably chance it because I'm supposed to be here at home all day tomorrow. But if I don't hear anything by, later on, I'm just going to go in. We're going to go into the assumption that we're going to do it on Tuesday at the deadline. That's what we'll go under. If you see anything, by like, evening UK time, then you'll know there's a change. If not, then just assume it's going to be on Tuesday. And then look out for the tactics talk as usual. But yeah, for now, we're going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, follow, all the good stuff. Links are in the description below. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to come check us out over on Twitch during the live streams. We usually leave a pinned comment down below as to when those streams will be here on Twitch. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.